Prayer is one of the most powerful spiritual tools given to believers, serving as a direct line of communication between humanity and God. Through prayer, Christians find peace, strength, guidance, and the assurance of God's presence in every circumstance. Jesus himself emphasized the importance of prayer, not only through his teachings, but also by his example. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus teaches, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Matthew 6:6 NIV. This instruction highlights the intimate nature of prayer. It is not for public show, but a private communion with God. Jesus also provided a model for prayer in what is commonly known as the Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9-13, which begins with acknowledging God's holiness, seeking his will, asking for daily provision, forgiveness, and deliverance from evil. These elements reveal the depth and purpose of prayer. It is about aligning ourselves with God's will, trusting him for our needs, and living a life rooted in his grace. Throughout the Bible, prayer is shown to be a source of power and transformation. In the Old Testament, prophets and leaders like Moses, David, and Daniel frequently turned to God in prayer during times of crisis and decision-making. Daniel's steadfast commitment to prayer even led to his miraculous deliverance from the lion's den, Daniel 6. This illustrates that prayer is not merely ritualistic. It moves the hand of God and brings divine intervention. Jesus also demonstrated the necessity of prayer throughout his ministry. Before major decisions, such as choosing his disciples, he spent the night in prayer, Luke 6:12. In the Garden of Gethsemane, facing immense suffering, Jesus prayed with such intensity that his sweat became like drops of blood, Luke 22:44. In doing so, he showed that in our deepest moments of sorrow and need, prayer provides strength and surrender to God's will. Moreover, the Apostle Paul urges believers to pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, suggesting that prayer should be a constant part of a Christian's life. It is not limited to formal settings, but can be woven into daily routines as a way of staying connected with God. The power of prayer is not in the words themselves, but in the faith behind them and the God who hears. James 5:16 affirms this by stating, "The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." Prayer can bring healing, change hearts, open doors, and restore hope. In times of fear, confusion, or despair, prayer reminds believers that God is present and active. Ultimately, the power of prayer is a reflection of God's power, his love for his people, and his desire for relationship. When Christians pray, they are not just speaking into the air. They are speaking to a living, listening, and loving God.